Hello and welcome back to live editing Wikidata with me and Albin, and today also with our guest Mahir. Welcome,
Hi.
Mahir.
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, and nice to have you back also, Albin. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better. It took a while, first midsummer as well, so it has been a while.
Yeah, are you down to edit some Wikidata now?
I am.
All
I've
right.
actually been able to do quite a bit of Wikidata editing when I've been sick, but now I'm gonna take some of the more heavy stuff that I left for now.
Cool.
Awesome.
What are you going to be editing?
I am gonna be editing a train station, or in particular two train stations. So we have this case in Sweden where they're moving a city, and it means that the new and old train station have been messed up. So we're gonna do some cleaning up, making sure it's all correct.
Sounds
That's really
fun.
cool. What are you doing, Mahir?
Well, I'm going to be doing some interesting things with lexemes. Nothing in particular, just stuff in Bengali and then maybe other languages, just to show the individual parts, I guess. We'll see how things go.
I need to watch that because I'm down. I want to learn it, but I haven't really gotten a grip on it yet. So I'm really looking forward for it.
I've seen you make some things. I mean, they look good as far as.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
I think there are plenty of people who needs this.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna try to also do some cleanup, a little bit like you, Albin, but in another topic in Sweden, because our county councils have been renamed into regions, and I think this is a little bit of a mess on Wikidata. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to try share my screen here, and let's see if we can get down to it. So I'm going to start with just a clean Sparkle query here, if I can. I'm going to go with it. So this is how I do. I start typing, and then I press Control space. And you get this little pop-up, and I'll click this. And I actually know already that I'm going to change this one. So I'm going to select an item here. Then I'm going to use the label thing service to label. And what I want is the property instance of. And I know that one by heart now. So I know that's the P31. I don't know what the county council is, so let's try here. There might be many of them. County Council of Sweden. There we go. And then we want the actual period there to make a new. And the label service. And again, I just start writing service, press Control space, and the second option there gives me everything. I'm actually going to switch this one to Swedish now to force it in, and I think that will be. So if everything is all right, we're going to get 21 items now. What do you think? What are your guesses?
I'm hoping 21 actually.
All right, let's hit run. 29, yeah. So we do have some regions first, and here we have an old name, the Landstinget. So that's we're gonna need to fix. I can't really see. Oh, we have. Oh, these are old.
Very old.
Because that's just one nowadays, and I think Elfsborg is also this. Hasn't been around for at least 20 years, possibly even 50 or 70. So we're going to see here how we're going to start. I'm actually going to just quickly order them by label to see if there's any other duplicates or something. It's going to be a little bit easier to see. So no strict duplicates. All right, that's good at least. Well, let's start somewhere here. Or actually, not. Oh, well, let's. No, I'm not going to start with Gotland because Gotland is the special case. I'm not going to start with the hardest ones. So I'm going to start with. This one looks old as well. All right, we need to start somewhere. Otherwise, I'm just going to. So it doesn't have. So here's we have an instance of, and this is probably the wrong one. So I'm gonna do another search in here just to show you. There's another County Council of Sweden. Oh, this is the same. Well, let's go with this one. So this is the one that we should put on the ones that ended. So I'm gonna do an English label here for you, everyone watching. County Council of Sweden. This is what it says is this is the regional subdivision before 2020.
Okay.
Right.
So it changed the 1st of January this year. That was the last date for all the county councils to change their names into. I actually looked this up. So they are still the same legal entity. So they have the same organization number. So I think we're going to keep them as one item, but change the instance of over time.
Right.
So let's publish this one there. And then, of course, we want to add this one on the other item, because this item, this was never the new county council. And actually, well, let's also make this.
There is a very
change the name
interesting
of
modeling on the Sörmland one.
I bet.
Yeah.
I noticed this after looking at the Blekinge one, because it had County Council of Sweden with an end date, and then it had County Council of Sweden, the same item with start date. And that's because there has been a merge over time. There's been a third item.
Oh.
So, but I don't think we're going to need it. But just to not confuse ourselves, this is the new one. So I'm going to rename this one so we can keep track of things. So this is, and I'm going to scroll down just to make sure I'm on the right item. Yes. So the Swedish is named region here. And this English article is Regions of Sweden. So that's what we're going to name this one to. So this will be Region of Sweden. And I'm going to call this more or less the same. Alias can be there because and then we can remove this. I'm not sure I'm going to put county council on here because that's actually
No, it wouldn't be right, I believe.
no, because that's the old one. Right, let's start there. This will make things much easier to see. Now I think I'll reload this one just to make sure. Or do I need to?
This is kind of interesting actually, because the Wikipedia articles here doesn't represent. So it's rather about the concept. For example, the Wikipedia articles here talks about all of them, I assume, while we're here are saying that it's just an instance of a single one.
You think that we should need? Yeah. Possibly we need two, you mean?
Yes, you might need one for the concept and one for, or it shouldn't be like that. Because I noticed that the description was in plural, but the label was in singular.
Yeah.
Which made me think of it's a little odd case.
It's a little bit odd, but it's also not really a list. article.
Exactly.
So I think that's more or less what you get.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with this, and we'll see if we return to it next week. I don't think we're going to get too far either in this session, but at least we're going to start with something here. So now we fixed one, and let's go for these two. I think these two will be easy as well, because they will just need, these are not regions. Yes, they dissolved in 1970, so they were never a region. So we're going to edit this one, change it to the old version, county council, publish there. I'm not sure what the English name would be, so I'm actually just going to skip that for now and try to possibly, this one is also easy to change. If it loads, it does. And let's see, what else do we have here? I think there might just be the Elfsborg one that is actually really wrong. So let's open that one up. Give me an edit button. There, thanks. All right. Now I guess the lag is too slow to actually let me rerun this already. I'm not even sure which one there are. So let me bring this up. Go to the Swedish article here. Let's see, do we have the 21? Yes, all right, that's good. So now I immediately spotted that the Kristianstad is also an old one. Suspected was not really sure. Oh, we don't have any dates there.
That'd be a good time to add some.
Might be. So let's start with that. Let's see if the article is probably 1970. I think that something happened at that time. No, 1996. They lasted a little bit longer. All right, so we do have 2 dates in the beginning there. That's really good. So we're gonna add dissolved. It was 1996, 12/31. And what's the other one? Inception?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1658. They had a good run.
Does the reorganization itself have an item? You could add it as a qualifier, like has cause or something.
Yeah, this one is, I don't know why. So I think this is a date I don't recognize. I think this one actually just got merged separately from the big reorganization.
Okay.
And because this is also 24 years ago, so I don't think that's related to the latest law change.
I see.
Now, here's something fun, I think, because I think this one still exists. So let's just, no, not there. Check here. Do we have a Halland? Yes, but the name is region now. So let's go into this one. So this has the new one. Now, when did this change?
Oh, it says it has been replaced by.
What?
The Wikipedia article is wrong.
Oh, wait. Do we have double items for these already?
Huh. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. Looks like
Oh,
a double item.
oh, all right. So, getting trickier by the minute here. So this one has an inception here. This one has the new name in Swedish. All right. Oh, so we're at the fork point here, I think. I was thinking we didn't need 2 items for everything, but just we're going to change them. But it seems someone else had something different in mind. I'm just quickly gonna... Oh, do they have separate Wikipedia articles? So this is the... They do. All right, then it makes sense.
Indeed.
So I think this is the model then. And then this was the right item there. This is the right item here. It has an inception. Did we have a dissolve date on the other one?
Yeah, looked like it.
Yep. And that lines up nicely. But then why did this one show up in the query? They have the same. All right, yes, because this one needs to change to the old one.
Yeah.
Still have it there? Yes, thank you. Good. And then I think Halland is done as well. Check out Malmöhus. Is this a thing that still exists? No.
Someone in the YouTube chat mentioned that it was merged with Malmöhus to form Stad.
All right. Merged with Malmöhus, yes. Oh, so wait, what? Halland merged with Malmöhus? Or what? But Malmöhus doesn't exist anymore because now we have the Skåne. Here we have Skåne, we have no Malmöhus.
Oh.
So let's check the Malmöhus item here. And let's replace by. Oh, this is nice. So this is right. So we just need to change the item type here from the region to the council. And did the Skåne show up? Let's quickly see here. No, so this needs the region thing. So we'll edit this. Oh, it had it. It's just cache here. All right. That's tricky. And it goes back. Oh, this is.
Yes, the caches are.
This is mind-boggling. All right. What do we think about our lag? If I run this now, have anyone? So down to 24. That's a good.
That's good.
Start. Yep. And I think
good evening for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I think we're gonna have a special case here with Blekinge also, because here I think we have. Yeah. Here's the thing. So this one is correct. This one should be the new, I guess.
Are they coextensive? Like, do they cover the same area or?
Yep.
Okay.
So most of them just changed the name. But the tricky part here, I guess, is that, well, I guess that was earlier then, because Halland that we just saw, that was in 2010. So they didn't know that the law was about to change. They just thought regions were a good idea anyway. Whereas this one is, let's check the article, see if it mentions anything before it. No, here it's just mentioned name change. So this is going to make the life tricky for anyone want to make inquiries if we're going to have sometimes P31 changing and sometimes there's going to be different items.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I guess if you're really neat with your querying, it won't make that much change,
Yeah.
but it will make it. You have to look twice, but let's at least just replace this one because this is plain wrong. Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah, cache.
when is it wrong on this one then? Ah, so this one should be replaced because that's the old one.
All right.
All right, I guess I can see that by hovering, this is Q85 and this is Q17 something. Yes, all right. But what else do we have here that shouldn't be here if it was still 24? Do you see any duplicates here? Oh, yes. Skaraborgs lands. That doesn't exist anymore. That was swallowed up by the Västra Götaland. 1998. So we're going to switch that one with this. It's not a region. And let's see. I think this might be the list. Let's run it again. Do we 24 still? How much lag do we have? 5 minutes. We still have Malmöhus in here. So yeah. Now, I think this is going to be a proper list as soon as the lag comes back to us here. We're down to these two and this one goes away. So at least now we will have let's check back in this after you have edited and see if it's still correct. But I think I'm going to be happy with this for now. I managed to break these or update these a little bit so at least they are not pre-1998 era in Europe response to the query.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
So let's take us through some lexemes here.
Okay. Sounds good. Let me see if I can get my Firefox window to show up. And this should be the right one. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is the usual stream account that I use for lexemes. And I mean, I should give at least some background, at least what I'm coming from with respect to lexemes. There's a group of us, not just myself, but other editors who have. We talk a lot about Bengali linguistics and how to model that in the context of lexicographical data. And to that end, we've made a lot of lexemes in Bengali. We have a couple templates in the lexeme forms tool that Lucas Werkmeister graciously built.
Yes.
We're planning on adding more in the near future. And that seems like a good place to start, actually. So you can see that this tool has, of course, individual little forms that you can fill in forms for. I'm using form a lot in this description, but there are different templates that within which there are fields that you can fill in forms for different languages. So you can see that for Swedish, there's what is this? Gender, neutral, neuter nouns, verbs, adjectives, and all that good stuff. For Bengali, all we have now are just nouns. These are for animate nouns and inanimates, depending on the final consonant, because there's case endings and they depend on the consonant. Here we can probably start by adding something. You can see that the tool itself has different fields that you can fill in for different cases. So nominative, genitive, objective, and locative, as the case may be. Oh yeah, should I zoom in a bit? I don't know if it's...
No, I think it's quite good. That's even better. All right.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Yeah, so figured an easy one to do, not one that doesn't require much thinking, is let's make a proper noun. It's inanimate too, but the proper noun Japan, referring to the country. We can start by adding, so the nominative is just Japan, and then the genitive is Japaner, and then the objective is Japanke. Input method is sometimes very, it predicts a lot of interesting things. And then Japane would be the locative case. And then I can create this. Let's see what happens. And now we can explain a number of things. You can see that there's just the name Japan. If, for example, this same lexeme were written in some different form, I could, also write something else. Like I can say Japan, and then I can say BNX, and then Latin script Q8229. So you could make your own language codes if you need to represent variations, as long as they correspond with each other. At least to my knowledge, Bengali and the Roman script doesn't really exist as a proper form, at least in the standard language. So we'll forget that for now. But for something like, I've seen this a lot recently with Tajik, the language in Central Asia, then the Southern Min, which is spoken in Fujian and Taiwan. Those have a lot of different like writing variants, so you could have like 4 or 5 of these just next to each other like that. So that's at the top here. The language, of course, can be literally anything.
Can I ask you a question about that? So
sure.
For Swedish, I can think about the word juice, which we do have like in the exact spelling as in English, but we also have a Swedish spelling of it. Would that be 2 different ones? Or would you put it in the same lexeme?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that except to say the
spelling is quite a lot.
Yeah, no. If it behaves the same grammatically, I'd say sure, just add it as a separate, and it has the same pronunciation. I think I guess I'm a stickler for pronunciation and keeping things together, which have similar pronunciations. But if they do have the same pronunciation and they behave the same grammatically with their non-Swedish spelling counterparts, then I guess you could use them as separate representations. If they differed in either of those respects, I guess my recommendation would be to add a separate form for that. So for I guess an example I can give is, so there's the locative case, which is just, so the noun is Japan, and then there's the suffix e for locative. Sometimes, especially in poetry, you find something where you start with Japan and then it becomes nete, so Japanete, or something like that. Here, of course, like you wouldn't add these as individual representations; you just add them as separate forms, and then I put a little thing at the bottom here. The lexeme forms tool, I think, has this ability. You can specify in the template that you can enter in alternate versions of the same form. I'd have to go back and see what that looks like. I can't remember which one it is, though. I think it might have been... Yeah, here we go. So for low vowels, you see that there's a slash here. You could specify that, okay, we can specify this is how it's spelled one way versus the other way. And then, as long as the slash is there, it'll create the separate forms for each of those. So that's that. And then, of course, you can add statements that refer to the entire lexeme. I will return to that in a bit. And then senses, we can add a sense, and you can add glosses in any language that you choose. So, okay, I guess I can't search for language names in Bengali in the English interface. So, and then I can say East Asian country. And then I can do the same in English. Then East country. You can go back to this item, which is shown at the top here, and just add a gloss in Swedish if you wished. Possibilities are endless. I've seen, I think some of the showcase lexemes have like at least 20 or 30 glosses for a single sense. So possibilities are endless. For any given sense, you can also attach it to a Wikidata item. So I think it's item for this sense, but I don't know. I use the Bengali interface, so I end up searching for properties in Bengali more so than I do in English. So item for this sense, and then Japan, which that would be Japan, right? And alternatively, if you wanted to directly link lexemes, then you could do translation 5972, and then I don't know if this is okay. Okay, so this is one thing I don't think this behaves well if you're trying to search for lexemes in the bar here. So I'm gonna quickly, where's that English one? Or that's It's the let's use the Swedish one.
All right.
I presume this is. Oh no, this is
the person.
This is the person. Is there one for the country in Swedish?
I don't know.
There's one in. It looks like there's one in Danish, and then there's something you can work on as a lexeme for Japan in Swedish.
Yeah.
For now, I guess I'll just use the German one. Yeah, Stadien or Stasien. Yeah.
All right.
I'll just use the German one for now. But you can attach them to lexemes, but more specifically to their senses. So in this case, the sense here is country in East Asia. So then I can copy the sense and then add it here. Yeah, at some point these drop downs for forms and senses really need to be worked on.
Need some better UI.
Yeah. Right, and then for individual forms, and of course you can add more senses as need be and add translations as you see fit. And for forms, there's a lot of things you can do. So if there was pronunciation audio, I don't actually know if there is pronunciation audio for this, but I can try looking. Okay, so there isn't a pronunciation for the nominative case Japan. So I guess we'll try pronunciation audio later. But if you wanted to add other things, for the Russian lexemes, I think there was so this property was created just to add to the stress position for Russian lexemes. We still have to define how to make that work for Bengali properly, but that's also one thing if you wanted to just respell it in such a way, maybe it's the way dictionaries spell it or something else, some other custom that you can assign to these. That's also one thing to do. I guess the easiest thing to do right now would be just to add some transliteration. So 15919 is used for languages like Bengali or Hindi or Tamil that use scripts that are very related. And so here this would be. I will return to this in a bit because I don't know how to get the Macron A. Or is that? Yeah, I'll return to this, but you can we can add transliterations as need. Okay, so we have a lot of forms to which we could add statements, but I'm not doing that. One thing we can do is add attestations, and I think that's one of the ways in which it's kind of underused, but it's possible to add usage examples. Or usage example. The way this works is that this is the reason I have Bengali Wikisource open, so we can find public domain texts that use the word Japan. So let's look for Japan. And there's a lot of works by the poet Tagore here, so you'll probably see a lot of stuff by Tagore. Let's find something that we can use right quick. Okay. Should have had this ready beforehand, but what's this text? This does not have an author, so I'm not going to use that. There was oh darn. Sorry, I meant to search for things. I didn't mean to maximize the screen. But I saw something. This is a book by the revolutionary S.C. Bose, the Indian revolutionary. So somewhere in here is the word Japan. I can just copy this sentence. Here it's just like China, Japan, Turkey, Egypt. So it's just using Japan in a number of different, along with a number of other countries. We can copy this sentence, and there's a usage example of the word. It's obviously in Bengali, so we got to specify that. Now, here we can also specify more specifically that we're demonstrating a particular sense. So rather than it just being, okay, here's the lexeme Japan, we can say, okay, here's the sense East Asian country. We can also similarly say, this demonstrates form, and then we can copy the form. So this is used in the nominative here. So we can copy that and use it here.
And then you could have several examples for different forms? Exactly,
yeah. There's a great example I have that I've been working on for a while. This is the word meaning heart, or I guess heart more generally. There is a more specific word for the actual internal organ. But there's 2 statements, 2 senses. I'm sorry, and 5 forms. And now each of the forms and senses has a usage example. That's an example of what we can do. Obviously, we're sort of working on, the group of us that's working on Bengali lexemes is just trying to increase the number right now. And we'll get back to attestations and all that good stuff later. So before I proceed further, I should probably add stated in, and we'll add, this is the edition that I got this from, and then I guess I'll add chapter, and this has the chapter, either the call of the country or the country's postal system. I'm not really sure which. I'm guessing it's the call of the country because this is a revolutionary who wanted to liberate India in the first half of the 20th century. So we'll say that that's how it is. And there we have a usage example of the lexeme Japan. I had mentioned a number of things, including pronunciation and audio, and then transliterations. We can find out some other interesting lexemes to edit by going to Hauki. You can see that I've browsed this a lot because it shows up on the top of my suggestions. Right. This is a tool created by Alicia. You guys probably know her. It's a great tool, honestly. It's very comparable to Ordia without as much of the sparkle stuff, but we can browse the Bengali lexemes for things that are easy to transliterate. I don't want to have to open another program just to copy all the characters and stuff. Here's what's one that's easy to do. Probably one that's okay. Here's one that's easy to transliterate. I'm just opening this right now, but you'll see in a bit that this tool is actually kind of like the reasonator for lexemes, because it nicely displays the forms and the senses. And if there's usage examples, they'll show up. Like we can show that example with heart. The heart, okay. I think I know why that showed up. Let me. Yeah, good. I'm glad other people on Facebook like Hauki. That's the word for, is it shark or something? It was the word for shark in Finnish.
Pike.
Oh, pike. Okay, sorry. Somewhere I read it was shark, but.
Well, it's sort of the closest thing that Finland has to sharks.
Oh, okay. Let's see how long this takes to load. Sometimes you can kind of tell that for larger lexemes, it takes a while. So, okay, I guess this didn't. Let's try this again. Okay, so you can see that all the usage examples show up underneath. Oh, this is even dated. Nice. That's new. It's actually pretty neat. We should go back and add dates to these attestations. But anyway, so for, where was it? Oh, darn. For a lexeme such as this, you can go here. Oh, that's right. This is the, okay, so this is the capital of, or no, it's not the capital. It's a city in the Indian state of Orissa. That's what this first sense is. So for a while, I was wondering, like, what could this possibly mean? But anyway, we can go back and we can add ISO 15919 and, oh, darn. If we can just copy characters from Wikisource, that'll probably save a lot of time later. And we can copy this requires a T with a dot below it. Those of you who are adding transliterations probably have better keyboards than I do, and so we can get to this a lot faster. And there's a number of other transliteration properties as well, which are very similar, but they have distinct differences in a number of areas. I'll go back and add the rest of these later, but you get the idea. This time I've added transliterations, and they turn out decently well. I don't know how much you can add references to these things, but someone will find a way, I'm sure. One thing I actually wanted to shout out to, I'm not sure if it's possible just yet. Someone was proposing a property for if let's say you have a public domain dictionary, right, and you wanted to source a definition from said dictionary and actually provide a reference for it. In this case, you could use a property called, and the reason I'm going here is because this is the closest English dictionary, Bengali to English dictionary I could find. I wonder if there is a definition that's given for Japan in this dictionary. Let's try not to spend too much time looking for it, but okay, so this is the J's and more J's, lots of words relating to water. Oh dear. Okay, so many pages. And okay, this does not have a term for Japan, but you get the idea. Like you can, yeah. So, and I think on that same lexeme, I added a gloss. The property was gloss quote. I can't remember who proposed it, but you can see that this is sourced directly from this dictionary, which I was just looking at, the companion to Johnson's. And this is one way, like if you had, say, some digitized public domain dictionary, you could import these definitions directly. And so rather than adding them in the sense here where you can't directly reference it, you can also just add it as this if you wish to do that.
So what is the difference between a gloss quote and the usage example?
The usage example is just a sentence that actually uses the word in context. So this is, for example, the word for heart in some poem that Tagore wrote. This is the first 2 lines of said poem. And similarly for these other ones as well. Like they have references in context.
Yes. Yep.
There's a novel, and then here's a publication. I think this is by J.C. Bose, the scientist. Gloss quote in particular is just for definitions that are sourced directly from
I get
the dictionary. Yeah. Here, for example, the actual internal organ for the heart has the definition shown in this dictionary. And if there were other dictionaries that had definitions, then you could add them there. One thing that's useful is to add pronunciation audio. That's something I was meaning to look at. And for German and Dutch, I was thinking about those in particular because there are 2 people, Marcel Koenders and I'm sure the Wikimedia Deutschland people know who uploads German pronunciations for that on their part. But why not add them to the lexemes? They already go into a dictionary, perhaps. Why not add them here? So you could add something like, pronunciation, audio, and then file NL Zane, if it shows up. Okay, so, and then you can just add NL Zane. I don't know if there are other pronunciations of this word, language of work or name. I don't know where Marcel Koenders is from. Otherwise, I might put a variety of Dutch. And the usefulness here is like if you have some dialectal variations, you can encode them this way. Let's add this as Dutch. And then similarly for these other ones, and there's like 17, and there's like 22 other forms here, right? This seems like a good time, rather than just adding them one by one, to see what we can do with queries. Because it is possible to query lexemes. It takes a while to get used to. There is a document that I have to keep open every so often. Lexeme RDF mapping. Great link. I think I might put it in the chat here. I'm not sure how to get it.
I'll try to get it. Yep.
Yeah. It's a great place if you're used to the query service and you've read the other document that shows how to use queries for arbitrary items. This is good if you wanted to make this work for lexemes as well. Like it tells you how lexemes, forms, and senses are represented. So here we can try doing something where select form label. It's not really a label. I mean, but I'm calling it label just because it seems easy to do, and also because I think, like, whenever you wanted to get something, get a label directly and do stuff with it, you'd use RDFS label. So here we'll just use form label, and then I need to get what's the lexeme here. It's just 21707. We want to get all the forms of Zane. So does that work? Let's see if that works. And then Wikibase form. I think it's Wikibase form. No, onto lexical form. I think there's a lot of, like when you are getting used to the query service and you find it useful to have controlled space for things. If you don't have controlled space for many lexeme things, so you have to figure out for yourself. Lexical form. I don't need the caret here. Form minus, and then of course the forms themselves have statements, right? As here, the first one has an IPA transcription in audio, and then pronunciation audio. And then we just do this. Let's see what this does. Let's see if this works. No, okay. Why, pray tell, is that the case? I don't remember what it is that. Okay, wait a sec. Huh. Or maybe I'm using the wrong. Or maybe it doesn't RDFS label. It was Ontolex representation. Sorry. Because even after this much time, I'm still getting confused with the prefixes. Okay, here we go. So
authenticity.
Yeah, so there's still query lag, of course. So we can neglect F1 because I just added that. But the rest of these we can copy here. I'm going to edit it in here just because, or maybe I can open blank. I don't want to open another window and have to switch between screens too much. I wonder if I can do something like that. And I can't find and replace, I don't think. Yeah, I can't find replace. But like you could modify this to make it work in quick statements, so that like if you wanted to quickly add the pronunciations, and I'll quickly make this modification happen. Just it's going to be kind of empty, but well, while I do this, it shouldn't take too long. What was it? P443, and then now I think that's what it is. I mean, if you have any other further questions, I just got to quickly make this quick statements query happen.
Let's see if we. We got some.
Oh, so they work without the. Oh, okay. Okay.
That's some good tips.
Yeah, that's very useful. I'm quite glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, I actually might as well just check that that's actually the case. So if I do Ontolex, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. That is a light.
All right. Thank you, Lucas.
Yes, I'm so glad. So glad I said that. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I have a query. It looks sort of like this. You'll see that it looks very similar to the version 1 format for quick statements. I'm assuming that these are the names of the audio files because I think the files that Marcel Kunder's uploads behave this way. I'm also not sure if there's like stress variations, but we can check that later between these. So then we can go to quick statements. New batch. I need to log in. Okay. And then let's see if this works. One commands. So you can see that the forms and the individual pronunciation audios show up like this. We can run it and see what happens. See how many of these actually have. Okay, so one of these had. Okay, so
all right.
Yeah, so these pronunciation audio files seem to exist. And like if you have, I mean, it's pretty rote. I figured I might do this myself one day. It's just reciting all the individual forms for a lexeme. I don't know if it's therapeutic for some people or not, but it might be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is still happening, but you can see. Okay, so I didn't add this before, but it's there. Darn, I should have added a qualifier for these, but I'll be happy to do this later. Adding the qualifiers, I'll add it to my watch list just so I don't forget to do that later. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Obviously, for compound words, I mean, there's other. We can explore a lot more about these lexemes while we do stuff here. So, lexeme. Let's explore. What else can we do? And I can just show how these things work. Is it wiki-based lemma for? Yeah, it's wiki-based lemma. Base lemma onto lexical form, and then forms have other things useful for that. So like if you were very confident in the transcription of a lexeme into the IPA, you could display that. I should have filtered by language, and I guess I forgot to add a form label, but let's see. Let's see. Ontolex representation, form label. And so, okay, why did that? Oh, that's why. Here you can see a lot of lexemes, some in, this looks like a common Polish suffix, and then stuff in other languages as well. And you can kind of see the levels you have to go to. We can specify that there's a lemma and then there's a form, and then query each of these things as we're using here. Okay, this is done. So if we refresh here, and we search for pronunciation audio, we have 23 different pronunciation audios for each of the 23 forms. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's also etymologies here on conjugation class. We got to work on etymologies for Bengali because that'll require a lot of Sanskrit importations and Persian as well, depending on the source of the lexicon. Middle Dutch, and I guess that's where it ends. I think the folks who were working on Basque lexemes are doing a good job with etymologies, though I don't know offhand which ones to actually check out. There's a lot of different things to do. I mean, in terms of Bengali, we're just sort of at the tip of the iceberg as far as it is. There's a possibility that these will be useful when abstract Wikipedia gets off the ground. If you wanted to, automatically generate text, you obviously have to conjugate it and decline it in different ways. The different words within, and then form them in paraphrastic instructions and all that linguistic stuff. And if there were functions that operated on lexemes, then that would, I think, be helpful for a number of, in a number of different areas. So. Yeah, I think I've showed you a lot in the course of the last half hour. If there's anything else you'd like to see, I mean,
I'm still blown away, I guess. There's a lot of information.
Okay, yeah,
but I also learned a lot.
I'm happy to go back if need be. Like, there's a lot that one turn doesn't.
Yeah, perhaps you can come back on and do it even more deeper in one specific area, or something.
Maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Maybe we should try it, Jan, once.
Maybe we should try it ourselves.
Yeah. Sure, what questions we come up with.
Yeah, you want to try it? Yeah. You want to try it now? Go ahead. Otherwise, I don't have much else to show in terms of the language that I was meaning to look at, but you guys can take it away. I mean,
all right.
Oh shoot. So Bodhi's in the chat. Bodhi Satamandal is one of my collaborators, along with a number of other people. Yeah, so that's the verb for to see.
All right.
And the novelty of this is that Bengali, like a number of other languages, is replete with forms. Verbs are replete with forms. That's 93 forms. This is only like a quarter of the maximum. I think the maximum was Czech or something with like 200 something, or it's ridiculous. The Basque importers though are out of the blue. Every lexeme has at least like 50 forms. It's ridiculous. And I don't know how they make it work, but anyway,
I thought Swedish was a hard language, but we only have 9 forms.
Right. Yeah. So again, so we have 2 usage examples, which I have to add references for at some point. And then there's the sense. Even verb senses have items and translations. And then we can sort of go down, and you can see that there's lots of different things: person and tense and aspect. And there's like a formal register and a colloquial register of this is the formal register. This is the colloquial register of Bengali. So each of these has individual forms as well. That automatically doubles the number of forms.
Yeah.
We start with 50, and then it just goes up to almost 100. And you see F93. So it is a lot.
All right.
That's probably that's where we're having the most. We're still sort of discussing like how best to perform a mass import if we're going to perform a mass import of verbs. So, So I'm very glad both of you reminded me of that. But okay. Beyond that, I don't have much else to show on lexemes unless you're interested in seeing something else. If not, then
I'm pretty sure we will return soon. Let's for now see what Albin is gonna clean up.
Yeah, you mentioned railway stations at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm gonna do railway station, but it would be super cool if this lexeme were more integrated with Wikisource. We saw examples of having dates on things, and it would be super cool if we could just get that type of data automatically.
Oh yeah, there was someone I think took a French poem and then added lexemes for every single word that occurred in said poem, and that was legitimately an interesting thing to do. I thought about doing it myself for one of Tagore's poems, but who knows?
Yeah, I wanna see. I might take a stab at lexemes just to try to learn some Dutch before moving to the Netherlands. We see about that, what happens.
I wish you good luck in that endeavor then.
So, train stations. We have a lovely case here in Sweden where we are moving the city Kiruna because of mining operations. So they are essentially moving the entire city. I don't know for how many years they have been doing this, but for quite a few. I remember you, Jan, you had a photo safari to document the old city.
I actually have video footage of the teardown of this station.
Oh,
wow!
Right. So
and it's on Commons already.
So Jan already spoiled here that it's a teardown, but it happens to be that they tear down the old one, which is depicted here, and built a new temporary one. But this one is representing kind of both currently. It's a lot of the Wikipedia articles about this station are covering both the new one and the former one.
Oh, okay.
So we can see that, for example, this is closed according to this. At the same time as it has the current station codes. One of those are correct. And it's a little odd currently. And this is also connected to the main Wikipedia articles, which are all about the current temporary station or the old one, kind of mixed up. But we also have an item for the old one, the one which is teared down. And something we can see here that it is not closed. We can see that it's not a protected building, which is the case with this one. If we go up.
All right. Yes.
To I don't know if it's stated anything or if it has been removed by now.
No, I saw it just.
Yeah, me too.
There you have it.
Yeah, heritage designation. So it has a start time but no end time. Of course, it's no longer a protected building because they teared it down. And just in general, this is slightly caused by not errorsome in that case because it was a part of the monuments database import. I'm not sure if this item existed by then, but we need to move things currently. We need to move things over to the orchard station, which also mean that we need to check the dates for things. We have an image of the new temporary one here in the Swedish Wikipedia article.
Yes.
It's a terrible train station, the temporary one. But actually, the new one, the real one, were supposed to be in use this year, but I'm not even sure if they have started building it yet.
The next one.
Really?
Yeah, the third one. So
Yeah,
we will get back to this item in a few years.
Yes.
During the third station. But for now, we want to clean this one up. And for example, architecture structure is something that has ended up in all monument-related buildings because of some data modeling from a Swedish government agency. Or actually, architecture ensemble is the one I'm talking about. We have this move claim gadget we have been talking about a couple of times. We have showed several times on how to install this type of things. I won't go into it. But I will start actually by moving in things related to the monument protection. That's easy to get started. I will remove this one because the orchard one had a claim to it. So I'm gonna copy the queue number here. We need that to move this. Gonna restart here so it's clear what I'm doing. I want to move this statement to an orchard entity. I can choose if I want to copy it or move it. I want to move it entirely. I'm gonna go back to the image later on. The coordinate location is for
that's the old one.
The old station because you can see that there is no railway even going here today. I think the new one is up here.
It's next to the lake.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Exactly.
There it is.
Somewhere here. It's unclear exactly where.
Right.
So I will check if this had a coordinate. I believe so. Let's see if this one is the right one. It's still the right one. But it only has imported from Swedish Wikipedia. I am by the opinion that the reference here, I believe, is imported from... Oh, that's imported from the English one. I was hoping it was imported from the monuments database.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna leave that. We're gonna edit it later. I'm not gonna copy it over. Materials used. The new one is not made of brick. It's made of something else.
Concrete?
Something concrete-like. So I'm gonna move this one. I still have this. Just gonna paste it in again, making sure it's the same. I'm gonna move the claim. Moved. It's still there because we haven't. Because I haven't reloaded. This is interesting. We have an architect. So I will see if it states something here. This is about the old station. But in the general article, yeah, it was he was the architect for that one. So I'm gonna need to move that one as well. Move claim. I do know directly that the date of official opening can't have been 120 years ago for the new one.
No, it was built in 1915.
Yeah,
what do you
but often the building were built sooner or later of the train station itself.
All right.
So, for example, in Sweden, we even have cities which has a railway station but no railway, because they decided to build the railway station, but then they decided, no, we can't do the railway here. So there are a couple of cities in Sweden which has railway stations but no railway.
Right.
But this also becomes a modeling thing, because do we consider it the same railway station that has moved and it has just changed, and the Orchard one is just about the building? I don't think so. I believe it's a new railway station, because I also think they have new railway station codes and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move this as well. And it just keeps the ID here, so as long as I'm editing, of course, date of official closure, which is right. So it's closed the same year it was turned out, not necessarily the same dates. Move the claim. I am gonna move the claim of this one as well. Use railway station. That's of course an interesting one, but it essentially, I believe this comes from the fact that it has the instance of architectural ensemble, which doesn't indicate it's a railway station. But because, if I'm gonna go back to it, it's stated in the monuments database, so it's not actually a statement about this item anymore. So I'm gonna move that as well. I also moved the instance of statement, claiming that it's an architectural ensemble, so it makes more sense there.
You're not going to keep the railway station?
No.
No, because the reference is wrong.
Exactly. So this is the reference claim is about Orchard.
Yes.
And because what I'm keeping here, I moved architectural ensemble, but I kept instance of railway station. So I do no longer need to use one. I'm gonna reload this now, as we have been doing a bit of editing here. We have Inception. I want to move that as well. I'm gonna double check the reference here. Yes. Gonna move it. And it wanted to do editing. I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna edit it later on. I don't know the case if the operator is the right one. But of course, listed building complex, that's not, it's not the new one. The new temporary one is the opposite of a protected building. It's even a stated temporary one. The stations code, I'm gonna leave those out. I actually have to look at the database which I have downloaded. If I can't find those on Wikipedia somewhere.
It's a little bit interesting that it was a protected building, but they still demolished it.
Yeah, so I believe you know just as much as me about this, but they just consider they have been moving a lot of the buildings, a lot of the old ones, protected ones, by essentially picking them up on trucks and moving them, the entire structures. But a railway station built out of bricks were considered out of the scoop.
Yeah. I think it's easier to pick up wooden houses because you have these like horizontal structures to actually carry the weight.
Yeah.
Bricks is brittle.
So we have a bunch of identifiers here, which might be correct or not correct.
I guess that one is not correct.
I'm gonna start with the most obvious one, that is essentially about the monument. So I'm gonna move this claim. I should know how to move the most important claims about the new one. Something like that.
Did you notice that the number of buildings also had the monuments database as a reference?
Yes, I believe I moved it, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
I did.
All right.
I
Okay.
did. Just in between. I didn't mention
Yeah.
it.
Ah.
I'm gonna reload this one as well, so we see that it has a bit more data. It has the architectural sample. It has a couple of dates for everything we moved. This one I consider rather complete.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add one thing just to make sure that they don't get mixed up. You have seen me do this a ton of time if you've been following this. I want to say that it's different from, so that they don't get mixed up in the future. And this will complain because I don't have a different from on the orchard item used yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do that directly because I have easy access. And a feature I really want on Wikidata is to have this add statement at the top instead.
Mm-hmm.
It would make my life a little easier. It would save some scrolling time.
Just under the labels would be perfect.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
If we were adding statements up here instead.
Yeah.
Just here, next to statements here.
Push things down. Yeah.
Right.
That would be lovely. And this, we're back to the new one. So we want to replace the image. We had one here on the Swedish Wikipedia, in the Swedish Wikipedia article. Just gonna do it like that. Click publish. Because it's directly from Wikipedia, I'm not gonna add a reference.
Yeah.
Oh, here we have a location that still states. We have a couple of ones here.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just some more moving. Let's see if it's gonna end up being messing this item up. Do we have that type of? We have location without references, and we have this one without. Okay.
All three of them without references. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move them. We will end up just switching them, having no reference on the orchard ones. Move claim. Move claim.
Vera is mentioning here that it's not too hard to do it with a user script. I guess she refers to adding another input field.
Yeah, or I guess
no, of course not. Right, it's really easy with the user scripts. I'm just too lazy to do that.
And the user scripts don't work on mobile, so it's like making the Wikidata interface useful on mobile is quite.
Yeah, but I don't think you can even add statements on mobile currently.
You have to switch to the desktop view.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That is problematic too.
Yeah.
But some of these basic UI things, like having add statement at the top, I believe should be a part of Wikidata itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I moved a couple of claims. I wonder what would happen if I move here without reloading. I'm gonna try it because I wonder. So I wanna move the ones without statements to save myself some time. I'm gonna try this.
In the other direction. All right.
Yeah, I wanna see if this works now, or if I broke everything. No. It seems to move the wrong one. Let's see what happens if I reload.
You had 2 for Sweden there, did you? In the top.
Yeah. No, 2 references. Yeah, this was everything I moved. Oh, it doesn't seem to have moved the order of things I did here. I successfully broke something.
Nice.
You should probably always reload.
Yeah, I should probably always reload. Okay. Just gonna need to do some more cleanup. Oh, but here we go. But this was the one I didn't want. Okay, so I just moved them back and forth. Okay. That's... I can live with at least.
Yeah.
Back. I might need to go back to this afterwards to make sure I didn't... Because now we doesn't have any of those, which is okay. But I believe we got everything here.
Nice.
On the old one.
Someone on Twitter was mentioning that there's a gadget called key shortcuts, I think. And if you enable that, you can press A and then it'll jump straight to adding a new statement. That's what
Oh.
said.
That sounds lovely.
I don't know how long ago they mentioned that. I didn't get the ping until... Oh, okay. Actually, no, it was just now. I got a ping about that.
So back on this newer one, we need country because we removed it. We're gonna have Sweden. We're gonna have located in the administratorial entity. I'm gonna write in Swedish, but add English one. And we want to have location. Which is more or less cured.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay, so some things that are still very errorsome here would be the coordinate. And we should also have a couple of dates here. At least the ones we can easily grab from the Wikipedia articles. I wish I could just move it here, but I can't. So I'm gonna see if we have if this one is the right one. And for those of you copying coordinates from the Swedish Wikipedia, some people says it's a little tricky because it will say it's errors unformatted, but it's just a letter. And I know that happens to be where the new one is.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna remove the importer from the English Wikipedia as well. It's no longer the case. So we got the new location. I'm gonna leave the stations code for now. Gonna do that another day. And I also wanted a couple of dates. Date of official opening or inception. Usually for railway stations, the preferred one seems to be the date of official opening. But I tend to add both of them because it's a mix out there, so it will be easier for people who make queries.
Right.
So when did the new one open? The last one departed from the old one in August 2013, but it says nothing.
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
No. We are gonna check the English.
Is it possible that there wasn't a break-in service between the time when the old one closed and the new one opened? Usually I don't know, is it... Usually try not to...
I think it's unlikely in this case. Okay, so here it says in 2013, the new provincial railway station northeast of the town took over traffic.
Yeah.
Um,
So it says in the Swedish article when the last train went from the old one. So you could figure the day after that,
yeah,
or later the same day. So you could at least say August 2013.
exactly.
Have
So the
decent
English
precision.
Wikipedia article is also a good case of an article being about both the new station and the old station. We can see that it has an image of the old station, and is half the article is about the old one and half is about the temporary one. We have to live with that.
Yeah.
It's one of the common things in Wikidata that would be really nice is having multiple Wikipedia articles to various items and such, because often Wikipedia articles are about a wide range of subjects.
Right.
But so I know that the Inception, we don't really have a date for an official opening, but it was in 2013.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That said, I would still somehow like to indicate that this is a temporary one. I'm not sure on how to do that. What I can do is do it in the Swedish label at least.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have?
But there is
Yeah, if someone knows something, a good way to indicate that, it would be great.
there is a property called nature of statement. One of the values that property takes is interim. So if you wanted to
Oh.
qualify one of the statements with nature of statement interim, that might work for your purpose.
Yeah. It's not perfect because, of course, the statement will always be present, but we will have a future item. But it might at least indicate what we are
You also
want to communicate
have
here.
an entity called temporal entity.
Oh, but what does it mean?
It says thing that can be contained within a period of time or change in state. Well, it's probably more for events, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
It's
No,
like
it has all the alias temporal object.
Oh,
I don't know.
well, let's see. Let's look at main space uses of that item.
exactly.
It isn't really used for that purpose, I don't think.
All right.
Okay.
There's only like 25 uses, and I'm not sure all of them are.
No, that seems to be something else. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it like this with nature of statement to interim on the instance of. I think at least it's closer to the state of things. Again, it's a wiki. If someone knows a better way, feel free to go ahead.
It is at least some hint.
Exactly. It's more or less a hint to the next person that scratches their head over this.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the things when I was sick in the last 2 weeks that I left for another day because I didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
But now you did.
Yeah, it's good that you did.
Exactly. I usually have a couple of ones I usually bookmark for future use, and this is a perfect opportunity to do this type of cleanup. I know people enjoy it as well. Number of platforms are owned by. I think we're pretty good here. I'm showing this. It's user script that's called Recoin. We'll be showing it off a couple of times. That indicate what other type of statements there usually are for items. I'm gonna double check it as well on this one. I'm gonna make sure to reload. I have learned that the hard way. And it has a couple of things that would be very true, but all need some type of end date. So the connecting line would be the iron ore line. The stations would be the same as the newer one. And something that we always see often see on railway stations are located in time zone, which are generally, when they're located in countries, really easy. So, for example, Jan, with 4 weeks ago, you showed off how to, based on an order statement, add order statements. So this is a great use case where one could, all railway stations located in Sweden, add located in time zone, and then add the two time zones that
we
applies
have
in
it
Sweden.
easy with a narrow country with
Exactly.
Sweden in just one time zone.
Exactly. Or two time zones, because we switch.
Yes, with the summertime.
It's an interesting discussion by itself. I'm not going to get into it here, but like I thought on the whole idea of two time zones.
Yep.
Yeah. Every year it's up for discussion.
Yeah. I think I'm going to show this. This was the Lucas Forms tool that you showed.
Yes.
So people have the chance to try it out as well.
Yeah, it's possible to add templates. It's not too hard as long as you, I guess, know what forms you want to add. It's possible to add templates. Just there should be a help link. Just ask Lucas.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do more with lexemes in the future.
There's a lot more to be done, but that's what the future is for.
I just started trying out that forms tool, and it's really easy, just because of the example sentences. Like it's very easy, even if you're not very good with languages, but for your native language, it's very easy to just fill it in.
Right.
That's very nice. And then I noticed also that like we have something in the order of 4,000 pronunciation audio in Swedish on Commons already. So it was easy to find things to add.
That's good.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Got to work on it for
I might show this. So I don't know if people have seen this. This is something I built many years ago, or not many years ago, a few years ago. But it's essentially an application that allows you to learn sign languages based on Wikidata.
Ooh.
For example, for American Sign Language here, we can select to browse all the words that exist, and we have like flashcards as well. So this happens to be duplicates in American, but essentially can show images, but it can also, if we select Swedish, where we only got 8 for some odd reason, we can, for example, go to hat, and you can actually see like videos of sign language, and it would be really nice to see this type of applications built upon lexemes. To actually being able to see it in usage as well. Especially as I'm moving to the Netherlands, it would be great to being able to empower my Dutch learning by using Wikidata only.
Yeah. looking forward to the day where I don't have to go to translate. I can just use lexemes.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's enough for this time. I am so full with ideas now in my head, so I think
Yeah, so do I.
it's going to be hard to sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
If you wanted to do more with lexemes, there was or stations, I should say. I posted a thing in the chat. You can see the link to Swedish railway stations if you wanted to fill in the map.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've been doing a bit of this. This was my illness project, so to say, in between fever, editing railway station, and
Connecting them all.
especially we have a lot of like old ones, abandoned ones, several hundred of them, and yeah, it's an endless project.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. If you can get that automated, like quick statements, all the links between them,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, but in particular, there is no like official database of all the railway stations.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's no source to begin with. It's very manual.
Yeah, for other countries, yeah. You sometimes get lucky, like Iran or Bulgaria, and then others you're less lucky, like Turkey or Pakistan. So it really varies.
Oh yeah, this is the query that's visualizing
So
the lines as well, right?
Yeah, so you can see that most of northern Sweden. You can put. I don't know.
Could you share it on the screen?
Yeah.
I could from here. It's gonna.
Yeah. So the color coding is just like anything that's in dark blue is in my, at least with respect to the. So the connections aren't actually individual items; those are just adjacent station items for different between different stations. And if it's blue, then there's like a connecting line and a towards. For example, like you can say you're in Kiruna towards whatever that station is on the Norwegian border, or
exactly
towards Stockholm or something. And then
we can see here that all of their stations here, there are a couple of more ones that are actually missing, are all connected to the iron ore line that goes to. It actually only goes here and then it has a different name. They're all the way to Narvik.
Oh, okay.
But essentially, all of this would be connected in the perfect world.
Yes.
But this query makes it so obvious that you can just add it. I think we have seen this query in the past, but for India as well. On this.
Yeah, I had originally. So James Hill was the original writer of the query for the London Underground, and then I adapted that to India and used that to track my progress connecting Indian stations. And this is an adaptation of that for Sweden. So.
Yeah.
And I adapted that one from India also into the subway system of Stockholm.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah. We can see it here actually.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what that was. It was like a suburban state thing, or.
Yeah. So this is the.
No, this is the commute lines. No. So this is not the subway.
This is the commute lines, right?
Oh, okay. So. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Just imagine one day connecting all of this stuff. I think in. So one thing I've been trying to do. There's still like a couple gaps, mainly in Bulgaria and Turkey, but trying to connect London and Calcutta, just entirely via rail links, and it's. So far, the link from Calcutta to Ankara, the capital of Turkey, is there, and then a link from Bucharest to London is there, but it's just the gap in between.
Yeah.
So it's like entirely possible. Yeah. Possibilities are endless.
Yeah. So much still to do on Wikidata.
Yes.
And there will always be.
Yeah, and I think as long as there are more videos like this where we see these progress, then
Yeah, we're gonna need to do a follow-up on that railroad map.
Yeah.
The next time I'm sick.
All right.
Let's hope it doesn't need you to be 60. That would be. All right. Well, I guess with that, I think we close for the day. Thank you, Mahir, for joining us.
Thank you. It was great to be here. And,
Great to having you.
Yeah, great seeing things you guys do.
And thanks you for everyone who's submitting good tips in the chat and questions. That always helps us. Yeah. All right. And until next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.